Hi, this is Larry. In this section, we're going to discuss the third key, and that is to gather information about wants and needs. And we're going to do that using the review of the literature, asking people general questions, and asking people technical questions. Let's begin with some guidelines. First, we need to talk about maintaining the how can I help attitude when asking questions. Remember, your purpose is not to find who's hiring. It's not to get job openings. It is not to just find another person so that you are chasing people like many job seekers think. No, you have to resist that gravitational pull and maintain you are looking for people who need help to achieve their goals, to overcome the challenges they're encountering, and to move their projects forward. That's important as you're asking these questions, because if you lose that attitude, suddenly you're asking dumb questions and saying stupid stuff. We'll talk about that later. Second, remember that 5 to 6 5-minute phone calls are better than one 30-minute phone call. The reason is, take 5 minutes or less per phone call. Never go over that on phone calls because, one, the more frequent, the multiple phone calls give you time to ponder the information you received and develop follow-up questions. Also, it proves you do not want to monopolize their time. See, that's that gravitational pull. If you caught the typo in there, most people want to monopolize their time when they think like a job seeker. You do not want to monopolize their time. And also, the more frequent contact builds the relationship better than one long conversation. Multiple contacts develop that trust. One contact, not so much. So those are the guidelines. Let's move into the first to develop a natural curiosity to know things. This has to be driven by your natural curiosity. And if you're not a curious person, work on it. You want to be curious about what does this organization do and how do they do it? What did they do well? What could they improve? What's unique about how they get the job done? These are questions that you have to have a curiosity to know about. You also want to have a natural curiosity about what the organizational culture, what the leadership style, and the ethics of the organization is. How well do they treat their employees? How do they promote from within versus outside? And what is the organization's attitude about growth and innovation and change and whatever? Develop that natural curiosity and let that curiosity lead you in asking these questions to identify wants and needs. Now, once you have those questions in your mind, once you've prepared those questions, you're then going to ask first the review of the literature. You're going to talk about and go in and look at the company website. You're going to go to LinkedIn and see what people are saying about the organization in groups. You're going to identify press releases that they are giving. You're going to look at the annual report if you're going for a mid-level to executive job. You're going to review the literature to begin answering the questions. The questions of what are they wanting to do? What are the projects? What is the culture like? All these things so that you begin to understand what's already out there. Once you've reviewed the literature, you're then going to talk to two kinds of people. One are the people that I call general. These are people who do not work in the field you want to work in, but they work in companies that do. For example, if you want to go into analytics, you can talk to accountants, you can talk to salespeople, you can talk to customer service people about how that company does analytics. These types of general questions are given, and this is a script you can use anywhere. We'll model it later in the lesson, but here it is. You start by, where do you work? Then, because I am interested in analytics, I'm always interested in how companies do analytics. Could I ask you some questions? How does your company do analytics. Where are the analytics done? Is it in one group? Does each manager do it? Is it a system? How many people are involved in the analytics in your company? What would you say they do well? What do you wish they did better? Thank you. This has been very helpful. Do you mind if I contact you to ask additional questions? And is there someone doing the analytics that you know that I could talk to? Do you see how that script doesn't put them on guard? Never once have you talked about I'm looking for a job or I'm unemployed. It's one professional asking about how a company does what they do. And look at the information you found. You found how big a team it is. Is it outsourced? Is it inside? You found out what they do well. You found out what they could do better. That's something you might be able to help them do better. You've opened the door to have another conversation, and hopefully you've walked away with another name, this time of someone who is technical that you can now ask technical questions, which brings us to the second kind of people. And that is people who are doing the jobs that you want done, what I call the technical people. You gather information from people doing the job. And some of the questions you may ask might be on projects or goals. What are you working on at work? What are your desired results? How are you doing at achieving the results? Now, you don't want to get into their proprietary information. You don't want to make it feel like you're a spy doing espionage for the corporate world. You're just talking one professional to another. You're doing what we call talking shop. Other questions can be about trends that are affecting the industry. What's your opinion about whatever has appeared in the journals or your professional associations or LinkedIn groups that you discovered in your review of the literature? You might talk about what software packages are you using? Are there any problems? How do you feel about the latest release? Trends that are affecting the industry that you can identify in your review of the literature. Finally, you do want to come up with some questions about the environment or cultural information, like what do you like about working at blank? What do you wish the organization did differently? How would you describe the culture or management style of the organization? How do they treat you as an employee? All of these things are questions that you can ask, and it begins by first developing a curiosity about your field, about what you love to do, to be able to identify who needs help to achieve their goals and their responsibilities and resolve their challenges. Most job seekers, when they think like a job seeker, start by talking about themselves, or they ask questions that are manipulative. We don't want to do that. We want to sincerely ask questions to find out who really needs our help.